You guys ready tonight? I am ready. Let me see here. Almost ready. Let me grab my notes. Tonight, my intention, if you will, is to talk about how I got here. And I'm really actually excited to share this with you guys. So, day 18, positive success habits training. We're talking about empathy tonight. And this word oftentimes people don't quite understand what empathy is. So we're going to talk a little bit about how I got here, why we're talking about this tonight, as well as how this is all going to wrap up. Hi, thanks for being here. I'm excited for tonight. And it should be pretty good. So if you remember back on June 1st, the intention of what we've started today, this month, through positive success habits training, was to provide small actionable steps for you to find your why and your purpose and your core values and your mission and how you can show up to be the best version of yourself. And instead of somebody just saying that to you, having a kind of an actionable route to do that, right? So we've been talking about posting the homeworks and trying to build upon the foundation in which we've built the first week. And so tonight, I want to talk about how we get from discussing our vision all the way to implementing the plan, and how I've seen my life transform as well as I've seen other people's lives transform implementing positive success habits. So, day one, we talked about vision. And if you don't know where you want to go, you won't go anywhere, right? Because maybe when you're standing there and you have option A or option B to go down these different routes, and you get lost. You don't know where to go, so instead you just stand there and you stand at that road that's in a divide, right? Well, with all of the steps that we've been talking about, you should be able to take action and go down a route. And maybe that's not the right route. Maybe you have some learning to do and more growing to do, and you'll get there and maybe you'll swerve along the route, right? But running 100 miles in the wrong direction is so much better than staying stagnant and staring down these two paths. And in 2018, that's kind of what I was doing. I couldn't figure out what my why was, what my purpose was, what my mission was. I had checked all these different boxes off, but never really knew what my core values were. So, if you're still struggling to find out what those are, go back to week one. Restart these courses, right? Because there's a lot of value in what's being said. There's a lot of value in what's being taught here. And when you can implement positive success habits, you can see change. So I implemented building my foundation. And if you think of a house, that's a really good way to think of starting with a solid foundation, and then you can build up the sticks, and then you can build out all the interior finishes and all the exterior, and then you have a beautiful home, right? When I came to this path and I was standing and I was looking at these two roads and I couldn't decide which way to go, I dug deep into me. I figured out what my purpose was, what my why was, and what my core values were. And I'm not going to pull it out, but at Limegrover Coaching, our core values are to celebrate accountability, integrity, and empathic interactions. Hence why we're talking about empathy tonight. But let me start with the first one. So we do celebrate all of our core values, but we're celebrating accountability. And if you remember when we were talking, I filled out that wheel of life, and celebration was something that I struggled with. So when I'm building up and learning how to celebrate and have more fun and enjoy every single moment, I held myself accountable to that celebration, but I also enjoyed reaching my measurables. So there's a lot to be said in those two words. Integrity, I believe in wholeheartedly. And I think that you should always have integrity and treat people with respect and do the right thing even when nobody's looking. And then empathic interactions. With empathy, we're going to get really deep on this and why I chose that word. But in the coaching that I do for my clients, I want to show up empathically. I want to understand why they are doing the things that they're doing. And I think there's a lot of value to be said in that. And I'm going to draw out a little diagram here in a couple minutes that'll really dive deep into that. But I'm just showing up today, again, in kind of the conclusion of this course, if you will. We've only got a couple days left. We've got Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. So we've got 4 days left. And I just want you guys to understand how positive success habits, stacking good habits, really did transform my life. Giving me the accountability for myself to show up and keep moving toward a bigger goal has made all the difference. And what's the saying? It's how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So you just keep going after it and you have to take action. I would say that's been the biggest thing for me, is just staying consistent in the action that I'm taking. So when we're talking about empathy, most people have heard of the word sympathy, right? So let's just look at this. I'm going to draw a little thing, and forgive me now because my drawing is not great. But we're going to draw a circle here. And this circle is sympathy. Okay? And let's just say that in this circle, there is somebody who is drowning. And this person is asking for help. Okay? And he is struggling. So if somebody has sympathy, we feel sympathy towards something. So there would be somebody here reaching to help this person get out. Well, at the end of the day, hopefully y'all can see this. At the end of the day, if you're in the same circle and you only have sympathy and you have feelings and your pity or your sorrow for somebody is coming through, you're within this, so you can't get out of it. And it could potentially bring you down, right? But what if you had empathy? So let's draw empathy here. And this is where we should strive to be. And for too long, researchers and scientists had made us believe that empathy was something that you were either born with or you weren't, right? And studies have shown that you can learn how to be more empathetic. You can learn how to feel with other people. And a good example of this, and I'm going to dive in a little more, but a good example is, have you ever heard somebody or seen somebody yawn and then you yawn and you're like, well, why did I yawn? I wasn't tired. When you do that, that is an empathic reaction. You're feeling and understanding what that person is feeling. So this person would be here. Okay, I said forgive me for my drawing. So they're kind of standing off to the side, but they're leaning in. That's an arm. They're leaning in. They're trying to grab this person. They can feel what's going on, but they keep one foot grounded. They're not going to go down like this person would. They're trying to stay stable, but they're kind of on the outside, okay? And then we have this other athy, I guess, A-T-H-Y, that we could talk about. And that outer circle is called apathy. And apathy is not where you want to be, because apathy means that you're just out here and you are turning a blind eye. So you're looking this way. You could care less what's going on inside of this circle, and you're more alone. So we feel sympathy towards something, we endure empathy with someone, and we have apathy alone. So where would you want to be? Would you want to be here, here, or here? And let me just say there's one other one we can talk about, and it's called antipathy. Antipathy, sorry. And we'll just put that out here, and I'm going to call it A. You don't want to be here. That's a deep-seated hatred or some towards something or someone. That means they're not even involved in this. They have nothing to do with it, and they're just kind of out on their own. They're an outlier. It's definitely the opposite of sympathy. You have a dislike to it, and you just want nothing to do with it. So I don't even like to talk about this one, but if you were here, this one would be the best, right? Because you're trying to feel, you're trying to understand, you're trying to have a reaction to other people. So our purpose at Limegrover Coaching, or our mission statement, if you will, is to empower individuals to learn, grow, change, and sustain by utilizing positive success habits achieved through celebrating accountability, integrity, and empathic interactions. And so maybe we dive a little bit deeper into empathy. You're feeling a connection. You're feeling what people are actively and trying to actively understand. When people are vulnerable, if somebody says, "How are you doing today? How are you feeling?" You're listening intently. You're not standing there going through the formality, just trying to say, "Okay, I asked the question, let's move on." Or, "Okay, I asked the question," and you're formulating your answer while they're speaking. Give it a moment to think about it and really listen, really understand what that person's feeling. If let's just say you go to like through a Starbucks line, or you go in to get some coffee somewhere, or your favorite pizza place, and you have somebody in front of you and it's a complete jerk, and you're like, what is wrong with this person? Don't try to be so self-centered and be so frustrated in their reactions and their comments and their negative thoughts toward you. Instead, what if you asked them how their day was going? And really, with curiosity, and you showed up and you asked intently, empathically. And maybe they won't respond to you and then you just move on, but maybe they will. So a couple examples of that for me is I had gone to this pizza place in town, and it was gross. Like, I haven't been back, but I went in and I could tell that the person making my pizza was so overwhelmed, so frustrated, so just done with the day. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, how's it going? Like, are you having a good day?" And he looked at me, and it was like I was the first person to actually care how his day was all day. Who knows if anybody else asked anything, but I asked him and I waited for a response. And while he wasn't the nicest about his response, he was like, "I've been working all day and these people don't value me." And he just kind of went down this rabbit hole, and he was very negative in his reaction. I could almost see a lift off his shoulders because I asked him that question, because I gave him a moment to speak what's on his mind instead of him just being so frustrated and harboring it. And I was empathically listening, right? And when I see people working, like a good example is I was in Vegas and they were cleaning the restroom. I went in and I said, "You know what? Thank you for what you do." And her face lit up like nobody had ever said that to her. But I value that service, right? I value somebody making my pizza or cleaning the restroom so that way I can enjoy that clean environment. Such a good example. Working in the grocery store for over 7 years, I mean, you encounter a lot of people who are grumpy and they don't want to be in there, but you get your regulars and you start to say, "Hey, are you having a bad day today?" Or "How are you doing today?" And I can't tell you how many times people would literally just stop and they would be so excited that you said something. Am I right? Like, if somebody just cares, just for a moment, it makes all the difference. And I would even say, if you're kind of thinking about other people that you haven't talked to for a long time, right? Like, let's reel it back in into COVID. Is most people have been quarantined for 3 months now. And while we're slowly staggering and opening up the economies, you've also got a lot of people who have been laid off. And how how do you think those people feel, especially if they don't have somebody at home? Reach out. Just try to find somebody that you've been thinking about, a friend, an acquaintance, somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time, to literally just say, "I'm thinking about you." And watch that smile light up. Like, it will make them so happy. And what did it take from you? It took time, right? Didn't take anything else. Maybe picking up the phone. That's easy. Just put yourself out there, because if you're hoping somebody reaches out to you and it's not happening, then you be that catalyst for change and you do what you want and you watch how other people react, because it will make a difference. And when you start doing that and you're being positive and you're showing up and you're wanting to be better than you were yesterday, people will start to notice. You can change your life with little tiny implementations of new habits, right? I can't quite remember how this goes, so it might not even be good to bring it up, but I'm going to try to work my way through this. I heard this thing a few days ago that said, like, everybody's out there and they're trying to row their own boat in the ocean, but you forget that everybody's on an ocean. So while the ocean is huge, we're all out there. So what if we were supporting other people, and if you saw somebody's boat started to go down, instead of being right here and having sympathy and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry your boat's going down," or "Hey, at least you had a good ride while it lasted," what if you were in the empathy section and you were like, "Hey, I want to bring you into my boat," right? That this analogy is so fitting, because if you said, if you relate it back to COVID-19 and you say, "Okay, Joe Schmo is at home alone and he hasn't reached out to me," well, for all you know, he or she is so overwhelmed and frustrated and confused because they haven't had social interactions. And we're social people, right? We're social human beings that they want somebody to reach out. They just want somebody to say, "Hi, how are you doing?" And asking with nothing in response. Just showing up and saying, "Hey, how's it going today?" can change somebody's whole day. And opening a door for somebody and just not wanting anything in return can really be impactful. So, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but when you're trying to show up, and let me wrap up this idea of the boat, right? If you see somebody's boat going down in the ocean, be here in the empathy stage. You're not trying to fix their problem, right? You're not trying to go get the water out of their boat, because then you're going to go down with them. But rather, you're connected. You feel what other people are feeling because you're showing it through care, and you understand their struggle. Because if your boat started going down, you wouldn't want somebody necessarily to start coming and bucketing out the water. You'd literally be like, "Can I please just get on your boat? Like, can you just show me that you care in that sense," right? So I'm trying to live in this area, and it's hard, but the more you do it, the more it becomes a habit, because habits eventually happen involuntarily, right? So the difference between sympathy and empathy. And we know a lot about sympathy. That's when you get the get well cards and, oh, I'm sorry for your loss cards and those types of things, is when you can actually relate to the struggle. Sympathy starts with, I'm so sorry, or I'm sorry for. And sympathy also starts with, like, at least blank. So, like I said, I'm sorry your boat's going down. At least you had a good ride while you had it. That's not empathy. You wouldn't start that conversation that way. You would say, please, I understand you're having a hard day. Come in with me. Let's talk about it. Like, let me get you off of that sinking boat in order to save your life, right? A lot of times people have that connection, and you have to connect in a way that you're trying to understand how to make them better. So empathic interactions, right? That's the whole concept of this conversation. Don't show up for other people in a sense that you're wanting something in return. When I put this together, when I started Limegrover coaching, my whole purpose is to help other people achieve their goals and dreams. I want you to understand how to get to that next step through habit stacking, through implementation, through accountability, through understanding your why and your purpose and your mission, right? Because you are unique, and getting to that next level is your responsibility. Everybody has a purpose and everybody should be striving for excellence, but it's hard. You can get lost on your journey, right? Just show up to be the best version of yourself for yourself every single day and watch your life transform. And I can say that through my years of working and hours and hours and hours of hard work and dedication and holding myself accountable, I'm at this pivot point in my company that I'm teetering over into this area of success because I've given the hard work and it's paying off because my success is here. We've talked about this. When success is at a far outreached area, I'm going to erase this. Hold on 1 second. And if anybody has questions about empathy, like please, please, please reach out. But when success is this star that you're shooting for and you're currently here, figure out how to take that next step. Learn how to implement small habit changes, because a good habit is when it's a good successful habit is when it's something that it may not be something you want to do, but it's going to produce more results for you. So by continuing to work your way up, you'll eventually get here. And don't sell yourself short, because this might not always be an upward trajectory, right? You may get knocked down and you may have to come back down here and then like this, and it might knock you all the way back. But eventually, if you keep shooting for this goal, you'll get there because you have what it takes. And if there's something nagging at you and you keep thinking like, oh, maybe I should do this, or I was thinking about wanting to do that, then push yourself. Do something every single day that will get you higher, because nobody else is going to care about your goals and dreams as much as you do. But I promise there are people out there who will push you to achieve those goals and dreams. I'm happy to hold you accountable. I'm happy to show you a different perspective on how to get there, right? These short videos every day for the month of June have been leading up to hopefully you implementing some of these success habits into your personal life, such as moving your body for 20 minutes a day, drinking half your body weight in ounces of water, journaling or writing for 20 minutes a day. changing your mindset from a fixed mindset or a negative mindset, if that's where you're at, to a positive mindset and a growth mindset and a loving and a learning and a successful mindset, you name it. Be on this side, the positive side of mindset. Don't get stuck in your own ways. That little voice in your head can tear you down more than you know if you let it, because you are in control of your choices and your decisions, and you are in control of how you live your life, right? Everybody has the same 1,440 minutes in a day. All I'm saying is if you take 45 minutes and you move your body and you journal, maybe you meditate for a couple minutes and you drink more water, other things will start to happen and other things will improve. But you have to want it, right? And that's why it's important to understand your vision and your core values. Because when you can come back to your core values and you know where you're trying to get to, even when you get derailed, you can absolutely achieve all of your goals and dreams. So for tonight's homework, because I'm about done here, but it'll be posted in the group in just a few minutes. For tonight's homework, I want you to ask somebody a question and empathically listen. Really try to understand. And even if that question is, hey, how was your day? And they say good. Because that's what a lot of people say, right? And they just want to get that question out of the way. But if they just say it's good, well, what makes it good? And lean in and ask another question, because we are all in too much of a rush. Let's slow down and enjoy each moment. Number 2, move your body for 20 minutes a day. You've got another 1,440 minutes, right? Or I guess 420 minutes. Take 20 minutes and recognize that stretching or walking or running or riding your bike or you name it, do something that will just change your body. You'll feel very good about it. And number 3, and I think this is really important, especially right now while we're going through COVID-19, because there's quarantine and there's still all this social distancing and we miss our friends and family. So too many people are saying that right now. Pick up your phone and reach out to someone that you've been thinking about. Or get on social media and send them a message or send them a voice text, whatever that means to you. But just reach out to somebody, because chances are if you're thinking about them, they need you and they need to hear from you. And we all live so disconnectedly through social media. It's odd. It's a weird time, right? But show up and try to implement positive success habits. And let me read this comment right before we get off here. Oh, girl. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say to that, because I am the same way. I think a lot of us are that way. And I appreciate you commenting, because that fear that, oh, what if I had done this and I should have done it that way, or if I could have done it this way, or if I would have just done this differently, and really thinking on that, I think that's what sent me into such a dark place. And when I talked about this yesterday, I think, where I was saying I felt broken and I didn't know if I could ever put the pieces back together. Honestly, overthinking, the way I overcame that was to journal, because I could, it's a really weird thing. The first 5 to 10 minutes, so first 5 minutes for me with journaling, I'm like, this is great. And I just want to type and I've got all these thoughts to come out of my head. And then the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm like, oh, I don't know. What else should I say? I typically type I know maybe handwriting is better, but I've got so much I want to get out of my head that I do type a lot. But um, then the last 5 to 10 minutes of journaling, it like moves me. It's weird. And I can get these I should have, the what ifs, all the I could have done this better. I would have done it this way. It could have been a little bit better, and I should have shown up this way. I get all of those out of my head and I'm able to release it. And so I really appreciate you being vulnerable and making that comment. And I love that when you guys do engage in the comments, it makes it conversational. And I wish we could talk here, right? Like I wish we could have a back and forth on this video, but I appreciate you tuning in, and I love when those comments are made, the conversation that can come out, because obviously that's off script, and I'm showing up to implement these positive success habits because I really believe in them and I think they can transform your life. So, thank you for your comments. Thank you for being here. And we've only got 4 days left. So, I appreciate all the support I've received. And I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Hope you have a great night. Bye.